I still can't believe it happened. My boss, Mr. Henderson, actually told me I was lost because I was a woman in a leadership role, implying I didn't know how to handle a crisis. He had no idea he was talking to someone who'd served 2 tours in a combat zone, someone who'd led a platoon through situations far more chaotic than anything his corporate boardroom could ever conjure. Was I wrong for what I did next, for completely obliterating his career and reputation with the precision of a well-executed military operation? Tell me, would you have done the same thing? Let me take you back to the beginning. My name is Alex, and I joined Sterling Innovations, a mid-sized tech company, about 3 years ago, right after I transitioned out of the military. After 8 years in the Army, rising to the rank of captain, I thought I was ready for anything civilian life could throw at me. I'd seen things, done things, and led people through experiences that most corporate types couldn't even imagine in their wildest nightmares. I managed supply lines in hostile territories, coordinated complex logistical operations under fire, and made split-second decisions that meant the difference between life and death for my team. When I left, I felt an intense desire to use my leadership skills in a different, less dangerous, but equally challenging environment. Sterling Innovations seemed like the perfect fit. They were a growing company, specializing in supply chain management software, a field I felt a natural affinity for, given my background. I started as a project coordinator, and I climbed the ranks quickly. My military training wasn't just about physical prowess. It was about discipline, problem solving, strategic thinking, and, most importantly, leadership. I understood how to motivate teams, how to identify critical paths, how to mitigate risks, and how to execute under pressure. These skills, honed in the crucible of combat, translated surprisingly well into the corporate world. Within 2 years, I was promoted to senior project manager, overseeing our largest and most complex client accounts. My team was efficient, our projects were consistently delivered on time and under budget, and our client satisfaction scores were through the roof. I prided myself on my professionalism and my ability to lead by example. I wasn't there to make friends, but to get the job done, and done well. My direct superior was Mr. Henderson, the head of operations. He was a man in his late 50s, impeccably dressed, always with a condescending smirk playing on his lips. He was the quintessential corporate politician, all talk, no substance. He'd been at Sterling Innovations for 15 years, more by virtue of tenure than talent. He loved to hear himself speak, often rambling in meetings without actually saying anything useful. From day one, there was an unspoken tension between us. He clearly resented my rapid ascent and the fact that I was a woman. He'd make subtle, undermining comments, like "That's a very energetic approach, Alex." Or perhaps we should let the men handle the heavy lifting on this one. Always delivered with a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. I ignored it, focused on my work, and let my results speak for themselves. I knew he was threatened, and I wasn't going to give him the satisfaction of a reaction. The real trouble started with the Phoenix project. It was Sterling Innovations' most ambitious undertaking, yet a complete overhaul of a major client's global supply chain network. The client, a massive multinational corporation, was vital to our company's future. The stakes were incredibly high. Due to my track record, I was assigned as the lead project manager. This infuriated Mr. Henderson. He'd lobbied hard for his protégé, a young man named Mark, to get the position. But my CEO, Sarah Jenkins, a brilliant and no-nonsense woman, had overruled him. She saw my capabilities and trusted my judgment. The Phoenix project was a beast. It involved coordinating teams across 3 continents, integrating legacy systems with cutting-edge AI, and managing a budget that made my previous military ops look like a lemonade stand. We were hitting all our milestones, but the pressure was immense. Then disaster struck. a critical server farm in Singapore, which housed a significant portion of our clients' live data and our ongoing project development, suffered a catastrophic power failure due to a freak natural disaster, a combination of a massive typhoon and an unexpected earthquake. The news hit us like a tidal wave. The loss, system outages, communication blackouts, it was a nightmare scenario. The client was panicking, our stock prices were plummeting, and the entire company was in chaos. It was 3 a.m. my time when the call came in. I was jolted awake by my phone ringing incessantly. It was Sarah, the CEO, her voice tight with stress. "Alex, get to the office, now. The Singapore facility is down. We've got a full-blown crisis on our hands." I was out of bed, dressed, and in my car within 10 minutes. My military training kicked in immediately. My mind started to compartmentalize, to analyze the situation, to identify the immediate threats and the available resources. This wasn't just a corporate hiccup. This was a war zone, albeit a digital one. When I arrived at the office, the war room was already buzzing, but it was a disorganized chaos. Mr. Henderson was there, along with Mark and a few other senior managers. Mr. Henderson was pacing, shouting orders that contradicted each other, and generally adding to the panic. Mark looked like a deer caught in headlights. Sarah was trying to maintain control, but even her usual composure was strained. I walked in, took a deep breath, and immediately assessed the situation. No one was taking charge effectively. There was a lot of noise, but no coherent strategy. I went straight to the large whiteboard, grabbed a marker, and without a word, started writing. Immediate action plan, I scrawled at the top. Below that, I started listing priorities. 1. Data redundancy check Azure/AWS backups. 2. Client communication unified message. 3. Technical assessment on-site Singapore team. 4. Crisis communication internal/external. My voice, calm and steady, cut through the noise. "All right, everyone, listen up. We're not going to panic. We're going to tackle this systematically. Mark, I need you to lead the technical assessment. Get on a secure line with the Singapore team. Assess the damage and report back every 30 minutes. Mr. Henderson, you handle client communication with Sarah. Draft a unified message detailing what we know and what we're doing. No speculation, just facts. I'll oversee the data recovery and coordinate with our cloud providers." Mr. Henderson bristled. "Excuse me, Alex. Are you telling me what to do?" He scoffed, his face reddening. "I think you're a little lost, aren't you? This is a serious situation, not one of your little project meetings. Perhaps you should let the men handle this. You're clearly out of your depth." The room went silent. Sarah looked furious, but before she could speak, I stepped forward. My voice remained calm, but there was an unmistakable edge to it, an authority that silenced even Mr. Henderson, I said, my eyes locking with his. "I've been in situations where out of depth meant not just losing data, but losing lives. I've led teams through actual combat, where decisions had to be made in seconds, with incomplete information, and under extreme duress. What we're experiencing now is a crisis, yes, but it is manageable. What is not manageable, is disorganized panic and insubordination. I am taking command of this situation. If you have a problem with that, you can take it up with Sarah, but right now we have a job to do, and I will not tolerate anyone hindering our efforts." I paused, letting my words sink in. "Now, are you going to contribute to finding a solution, or are you going to be part of the problem?" He visibly flinched. He looked at Sarah, who gave him a stern, unwavering look. He swallowed hard and mumbled something about just trying to help. I didn't wait for an apology. "Good, then get on that client communication plan. Sarah, can you help Mr. Henderson ensure the messaging is consistent and reassuring?" Sarah nodded, a flicker of admiration in her eyes. I knew then that she understood. She knew I wasn't just managing a project. I was leading an operation. For the next 48 hours, I was running on pure adrenaline and years of ingrained training. I moved between teams, making decisions, delegating tasks, and cutting through bureaucracy with surgical precision. I coordinated with our cloud providers, pushing them to prioritize our data recovery. I had a secure video link established with the Singapore team, getting real-time updates and advising them on local recovery efforts. I set up staggered shifts for the technical teams, ensuring no one burned out, but also that work continued around the clock. I held brief, focused meetings, demanding clear reports and actionable insights. I was intense, uncompromising, and absolutely focused on the mission, bringing the Phoenix project back online and reassuring our client. Mr. Henderson, to his credit, mostly stayed out of my way after that initial confrontation. He handled the client communication, though I still had to approve every draft. Mark, however, stepped up admirably. He was initially overwhelmed, but under my direct guidance, he became a critical asset, meticulously cataloging damage and coordinating with the remote teams. The rest of the company rallied. There was a sense of purpose, a calm determination that replaced the initial panic. Everyone understood the gravity of the situation, and they responded to clear, decisive leadership. So that's the situation I was in, and I had to make a choice. Before I tell you what happened next, I want you to pause and comment below what you would have done in my shoes. Would you have let Mr. Henderson's comments slide, or would you have taken charge as I did? By the end of the second day, we had restored about 90% of the client's data from backups, and our critical project development environment was back online, albeit with some minor setbacks that could be quickly mitigated. The client, initially furious, was now cautiously optimistic, impressed by our swift and decisive response. Our stock prices stabilized. The crisis, while not entirely over, was largely under control, and it was primarily due to the systematic, military-grade approach I had implemented. On the morning of the third day, after 60 hours with barely any sleep, I was reviewing the final recovery reports when Sarah called me into her office. I expected praise, a pat on the back, maybe a bonus. What I got was far more satisfying. Sarah was beaming. She gestured for me to sit. "Alex," she began, "what you did these past 2 days, it was remarkable. You took a company on the brink of disaster and pulled us back. You demonstrated leadership that, frankly, I didn't even realize we had within our ranks." I just nodded, tired but proud. "However," she continued, her smile fading slightly, "we need to address something. Mr. Henderson's behavior, not just during this crisis, but his continuous undermining of you and other female leaders. His comment about you being lost was the final straw. It wasn't just unprofessional. It was detrimental to our company's culture and our ability to respond effectively in a crisis. His insubordination, his sexism, his complete lack of strategic thinking, it's unacceptable. We can't have someone like that in a position of power, especially not after what you just proved." My heart rate picked up. I knew where this was going. "What are you suggesting, Sarah?" I asked, my voice carefully neutral. She leaned forward, her eyes serious. "I'm not suggesting, Alex. I'm telling you what's going to happen. Mr. Henderson has been terminated, effective immediately. His severance package will be minimal due to cause, and his little protege, Mark, he's being transferred to a different department under new management. He's got potential, but he needs to learn proper leadership, not perpetuate Mr. Henderson's toxic influence." A wave of vindication washed over me. It wasn't just about the personal insult. It was about validating the effectiveness of my leadership, my training, and my very presence in a role that Mr. Henderson believed only a man could fill. And what about the head of operations position? I asked, a slight smirk playing on my lips. Sarah returned the smirk. "Well, Alex, considering you just single-handedly saved our biggest project and demonstrated unparalleled leadership under pressure, I think it's clear who our next head of operations should be. You've earned it, and honestly, I think it's about time Sterling Innovations had a leader who truly knows how to navigate a crisis, not someone who just gets lost. I accepted the promotion, of course. It was more than just a title. It was a recognition of everything I had brought to the table. In the following weeks, Mr. Henderson's abrupt departure sent ripples through the company. Rumors circulated, of course, but the official line was differences in leadership philosophy. Everyone knew the real story, though. They'd seen me in action, and they'd seen Mr. Henderson crumble under pressure. My promotion was met with overwhelming support, especially from the female employees who had also quietly endured Mr. Henderson's condescension. The Phoenix project went on to be a massive success, exceeding all client expectations. Sterling Innovations emerged from the crisis stronger, with a renewed sense of purpose and a clear understanding of what true leadership looked like. Mr. Henderson tried to sue for wrongful termination, but Sarah had meticulously documented every instance of his poor performance, his insubordination, and his sexist remarks. His case was laughed out of court, and his reputation in the industry was completely destroyed. He became a cautionary tale, a relic of an outdated corporate culture that no longer had a place in a forward, thinking company. Looking back, that crisis was the crucible that forged my place at Sterling Innovations. It proved to everyone, including myself, that my military training wasn't just a past life. It was an integral part of who I am and what I bring to any challenge. It taught me that sometimes the most effective way to deal with a bully isn't to fight fire with fire, but to simply outperform them so spectacularly that they become irrelevant. And that's what I did. I didn't just survive the corporate battlefield, I conquered it using the very skills he scoffed at. Like this video if you were on my side, if you think I did the right thing. Subscribe for more stories like this, where real life experiences prove that true leadership knows no gender. And please share your final thoughts on this whole mess in the comments section. Would you have handled Mr. Henderson differently? What's the biggest challenge you've faced where your unique skills saved the day? I'll see you all in the next story.